Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. Today we're going to talk about what you can plant in December, as well as some tips for things that you should or could think about doing in December if your schedule allows it. That's part of our prepping and planning I told you that we're going to talk about throughout this month. Then I'm going to take you on a tour of my garden, and I'm going to chat with you and give you a big reminder about how sun is the name of the game for winter gardening in Arizona. And I'm also going to share with you a big adaptation that I made in the garden. So if you've got a chance, stick around to the end, because I think it's a pretty neat idea and it might inspire you to adapt a little in your own garden. Okay, so first of all, let's pop over and take a look at kind of the Pete and repeat list of things that you can plant in December.
At the top of the list, we've got globe artichoke from transplant, arugula, beets, bok choy, broccoli, cabbage, carrots, cauliflower, cilantro, collard greens, dill, eggplant on the 15th, fennel, bulb and herb, green onions, kale, lettuce, head and leaf, leek, mint, mizuna, mustard, oregano from transplant, parsley, thyme, parsnip, peas, peppers on the 15th, radish, spinach, Swiss chard, tomatoes on the 15th, and turnip. Flowers, we've got baby breath, black-eyed Susan, carnation, dianthus, English daisy, forget-me-not, geranium, gloriosa daisy, lobelia, nasturtia, nemesis, narembia, ornamental cabbage, ornamental kale, pansies, petunia, poppy, primrose, snapdragon stock, strawflower, sweet alyssum, sweet peas, verbenas.
I hope you're still inspired to continue to plant a couple more things, because again, if you continue planting now in succession, then you should start, as we come into spring, you should have a couple of these plants that are still producing as your spring garden starts to come alive for you. So speaking of spring garden, I want to talk to you a little bit about planning and prepping. I really think that December, again, if time allows and money allows and all the things in the world align for you, I really think that this is the best time to think about where your garden's going to be at, what you're going to want to be doing in your garden. Are you going to put in new beds? Are you going to put in new bags? And if you are, I want you to start thinking about when you're going to do that. And if, again, at all possible, because life is how life is, and if you hear this or see this video any time between now and February, this advice holds true. But go ahead and get those new bags or beds established as quickly as you can, because I've learned from experience. I make up my soil and I can throw a plant in it, and will it do okay? Will it do good? It will do good. But what I know is that my bags that have been around and that have a lot of microorganisms in them, a lot of life in that soil, I know that those plants jump off even quicker than the soil that I just made. There's just something about that compost settling, getting to its best point for your plant. Don't try not to make a mistake like me. Run out in March and go somewhere and get a big load of compost that's slightly not ready, and then throw all of your garden into that. Not to say that come March, if you just saw this video and all of a sudden you're inspired to start your garden and start growing some of your own food, please still do that. Just know that your best years or your best time with your soil is going to be after the time that the soil has had a little bit time to kind of begin its life as soil. So I really want you, as far as planning and prepping, to consider your plans and how you can go about executing that preparation, hopefully in December, and whatever you can do in January, because in January is when we're going to want to start our starts for our spring and summer crops. And a lot of us, are crazy, and we'll probably start some of them in December. And you can do that if you've got a way to protect them. I've got my greenhouse, but you can do them inside. There's lots of things you can do. We're not going to go into that right now. But my point is if we go ahead and get our planting and our prepping going for spring and summer, then when it comes to actually planting in that spring and summer garden, we're well ahead of the game. We're not just getting our beds together. We're not just getting things together in our bags. We're actually in motion to have the best success possible. And that's what the most important thing here is lifting up our success level. Not, again, that you're not going to have great success, and I don't want to discourage you at all if you just watch this in March and you get a bag of soil and you put a plant in it. Please keep going, but next year think ahead and think about prepping and planning for your garden in December and in January for the best success in the spring and summer. So let's pop over and check out this sweet little garden tour, and I hope you get to stick around and check out my nifty adaptation that is really winning for me now. So let's check it out. I'm way over here in a part of the yard that rarely gets seen, but I wanted to start over here to show you exactly where my son's at, and I think this is really relevant because this is pretty early in the morning, and this is an important time in that scale of sun and how much sun your plants are getting. And as we walk in to this side of the yard, you can see where the shadow from my house, even being a flat roof, throws quite a shadow here on the north side of the house. And you can also see this gap kind of in between, like this part of the row and down there where that pepper's at, and that all these plants have been shifted that way. That's because all those plants that were there were really, really slow moving. But what I found is I tested it. This is another great thing about bags, is I tested it and moved them over this way. And as soon as I did, lo and behold, they just totally took off. And anything that didn't, I knew it was a plant that just wasn't going to do well. So everything from this strawberry that I've been able to, it's made now a third runner here. So this is a new plant. That's a new plant. And when that gets a little bit longer, I'm going to tuck it over there in that part of the bag. So this is my best strawberry. And like I said, everything here and this super good morning sun is extremely happy. And most of these things over here, like there's a tomato and a strawberry, kind of there at the end, close to what looks like close to the greenhouse. Those will get more sun as the day goes on, but the best two spots are really here in this row. You can see, like I said, these plants particularly were the ones that just were not very happy. And now for once I've actually got what looks to be true kohlrabi, or kohlrabi developing, and this is a Brussels sprout that I couldn't get past that until I moved over here. So this is me really reminding you that the key to a fall and winter garden here in the low desert is all about the sun and the penetration of the sun. So you can see now where the angle of my house starts and how this whole row that's in shade really needs to be either shifted somewhere else or shifted over on that side, because everything that's on this side is getting tons of sun. And you can see how happy it is. I mean, all the way down. We'll walk so you'll see. So again, you can see the shadow line. Now these older plants like this pepper and you know, these peppers over here, they're tall enough that they get enough sun to keep them happy. But the true joy of the garden is on this side. So even though, again, these tomatoes are doing great, once I get them over into more sun, these tomatoes are going to turn red quicker, and these plants are going to continue to fill out. And the sun's going to be especially important for the garlic that I've interplanted in these bags, because garlic really wants really good sun, whereas maybe these tomatoes, again, can kind of do all right and be slow. But the true joy is over here in this part of the yard. So that's just a little reminder to you that the heart of growing at this time of the year is being in the sun. So we harvested our watermelons today, and we tried one of the younger ones out, because the big one is what we call the oldest. And I can tell you, it was the sweetest watermelon. It was just amazing. Over here in what I'm still letting for some reason be the pumpkin, it's the crazy thing is it's pretty healthy looking, and it still makes flowers, and that I don't know what's going to happen with that. But I've had a lot of things pop up over here. I've got a good row of peas back there that I uncovered so that they could go ahead and start sprouting up and get to the fence line. You can see a little bit peeking out of the bags over there. And then in here I've just got kale and different kinds of kale planted, so that'll be fun. And something else cool I want to share with you, and garbanzo beans, this is where I'm breaking my rule. I've never eaten garbanzo beans, but they're such an interesting little plant that can get extremely tall. So this is the first thing I've ever, as a seed, just stuck in the ground here at the new property. So I've kept them covered just to keep the birds away, and I probably planted them a little too close because again, they're gonna get huge. But I'm really excited about this experiment, and I planted them right here by the trellises so that I could anchor them into the trellis as they got bigger and bigger. So maybe we can get some garbanzo beans. This one's pretty cool too. So they came up, I mean, when they came up, they were like this, and then they became this really quickly. So once they get going, they get going. We've been picking, we picked a mess enough to make a little sauce, but someone ate some. I seen the one down there on the ground I need to get. And so now I've got enough picked again to get another bit of sauce going. So one of my biggest adaptations, you guys know how much I've struggled with this bed, mostly because of the birds. Every time I plant, I have to do all these crazy measures to try and keep the birds out, and no matter what, if they have the smallest little corner, they're gonna find that corner and dig in it. So I developed this plan. I sketched it out, and my sweet husband built it for me. It's really simple. There's nothing complex about it. Cost us about $20. I already had the bird netting. I told him if he built it, then I would tack on the bird netting, and I am thrilled to pieces with how it turned out. And it's really light. I can pick it up. That crossbar kind of keeps everything from sagging, makes it real easy for me to lift out. And so now you can see I've got dill over there. I've got cumin. I have to thin all this out. I've got some cilantro, and this was some parsley. I planted some Serville over here, but I don't see that anything's come up. But otherwise, this is parsley from the kabloom basket. And all around the perimeter, you see almost all of my onions came up. So I'm just thrilled to pieces about that. And once this bed fills in more, because I'm gonna thin the herbs, and then I'm gonna interplant more of those same herbs. So once this fills in more, then I can take this off, and hopefully the birds won't root around in it. And then I can use this anywhere in the garden. I could cover several bags. I could cover a spot on the ground. So this is gonna be an adaptive tool that I will use for some time. So here's the rest of the garden going this way. And again, like I said, the joy of the garden is over here, and all this stuff is about to be settled in some sunnier spots over there where I began. Well, I hope you have the best day ever, and I'm always so grateful that you pop in, that you check in on me, and that you're a part of this little world with me growing our own food. And ultimately, I hope you have the best day ever. Many, many blessings and good thoughts to you, friends.